Welcome to another Patron requested video. This one, again, comes from Jacob Elo, and this time he wanted me to watch the film Wolf's Children. Basically, because May is the month for Mother's Day, and so let's watch something that is semi-relevant. Not right now, Scooter. No, I gotta work now. I'm literally recording this the day it's supposed to come out, the very last day that I have to put it out, and I watched it, of course, just today as well, so we're doing a great job on that procrastination here. Hopefully this will also come out on May 31st, but we'll see because I have to go into work shortly. So yeah, Wolf Children. I don't think I've really heard of it before. I didn't really know what to expect going into it, except that it has to do with mothering in some way. And my perception of it was that it was going to involve a single mom, because I find something that's focused mainly on mothering tends to, make the mom alone. Isolate her from everything else so then the focus can be mainly on her. And I guess I predicted that correctly. But yeah, I didn't know what to expect going into film or really understand what it was going to be. I figured it would involve wolves in some way. I kind of thought it'd be more like a Spice and Wolf type deal, although I've never seen Spice and Wolf, but just the idea of, think Raptalia from Shield Hero. I just had that, her character design in my head when I thought of Wolf's Children. Just basically some sort of anthropomorphized type characters. That's what I figured. And unfortunately, because I did this so last minute, I also didn't check whether or not I was going to be watching the sub or dub. The one I downloaded turned out to be only the dub. I checked for sub options, it didn't have it, so there we go. I ended up watching the Funimation dub, and I think I would have really liked it too. I really would have liked to watch the sub version, especially because the father's voice is very familiar to the point where it was kind of getting a little, it was getting jarring. It was getting in the way of my being able to immerse myself into the movie just because, I know this voice and it doesn't belong on this character. It's basically the issue that I have with listening to a lot of dubs in anime, because the anime dub stable of actors available and the different voices, for at least the US dubbing, it's very restricted and small. So you find a lot of people playing a bunch of different characters, and the range on those voices aren't really, they're not very wide. I mean, I can always tell when Vic Mignogna is involved in a production. I can always hear his voice. I can always hear the guy who played Kyoya in Ouran High School. It just gets in the way, because, they only have, one kind of voice. And maybe that's true for certain, for other voice actors, in Japan, but I don't really experience that because I'm not as familiar with the Japanese voice actors, whereas with a lot of the Funimation actors, I grew up listening to them, so I associate them with very particular characters. And it's not even character types, but literally, this character, I hear Vic Mignogna's voice, and I hear Tamaki, I hear Edward Ulrich. It doesn't work out very well then when I hear his voice as whatever the red hair guy's name was in Free. It's just I'm listening to Tamaki here, but he doesn't act like Tamaki. It's just so jarring and takes away from the experience. Something else that kind of distracted me in the beginning was, so this film does a lot of far away shots, where it's not really up close, to where the animation, the art style, can become very blobby. So, there's not a lot of detail on the characters, and an unfortunate side effect of that is when the characters become blobby, certain details get lost to where it gets a little confusing. The father, he wears sandals, but I didn't know he wore sandals at first, because a lot of the shots that I saw of him when he was introduced was in this blobby art style, and in the blobby art style, it looks like he's not wearing shoes. It looks like he's walking around barefoot. It looked like he had a sort of L thing going on. Yeah, so that was a little less than ideal, but it's small beans comparatively. I'd have to watch it again to really parse or try to come up with a reason why there were a lot of faraway shots. I don't remember noticing it too much later on in the movie, but I noticed it a ton when the characters were in the cityscape. It wasn't really a surprise to me when he turned into a wolf, because I figured that, you know, the wolf thing had to come in somewhere, so if anyone was going to be a wolf, it had to be the father guy. What did surprise me, though, is that he and Hana boned when he was a wolf. It's just kind of like, oh, I didn't know you were into that, Hana. I mean, he wasn't a full-on wolf, like he was, you know, part way, so maybe it's more of an anthro fantasy, but still. Kind of bestiality-ish, just saying. I'm also pretty sure that when Hana first found out that she was pregnant, she was considering abortion. I mean, I think that's what they were implying with her going to the clinic with all the pregnant ladies and then just kind of backing out, like, you know, her mentally thinking to herself, I just can't do this. And so, like, that's the sense that I got from that little snippet. So yeah, that was pretty cool. I really liked in that whole montage of her going through the 9 months of pregnancy. I just like how intimate it was. It didn't really want to spare the details of everything that Hana was going through. It was also a really good chance for the father to step up and show why Hana fell for him. I mean, frankly, he didn't give a whole ton to really suggest that he was likable. Like in his first introduction, he was cold and off-putting, and like we did get that little bit where he was kind enough to, like, even as he was obviously feeling frustrated in some way and just wanting to be left alone, he still stopped to help the kid who fell down. And that's a good, like, first indicator that he's not entirely a bad person, that there's more to him, but we definitely needed a little bit more to understand what Hana saw in him. And I think that montage really gave us a bit of that. We got to see him step up and, you know, take care of Hana when she really needed it. Like, we were shown that he wasn't just all about himself and whatever's going on in his mind, that how he was being in that moment was more that he didn't feel like he could really trust and open up to people, but once he could, then he can actually be himself, which turned out to be fairly caring and, like, basically the perfect husband. Basically the person that you would want to be by your side as you're going through morning sickness. I also kind of felt that Hana's whole thing with smiling and how she was taught to smile even when things are bad, I couldn't help but feel that that was sort of setting her up for, like, to be able to take a lot of pain, to be able to take a lot of abuse. On the one hand, it's trying to help her be able to deal with the bad parts in life and to be able to pick herself up and soldier on. But on the other hand, I can see this going really, really poorly for her, like if she ended up with a toxic spouse or something. I mean, that's the strong vibes that I was getting with her interacting with the old dude in the village that she moved into. Like, I knew it was gonna be the tsundere type of relationship with him. Like, he was gonna act outwardly cold and just, like, uncaring and actually fairly mean to Hana. Oh, but he actually really cares about her and stuff. But even still, it's just kind of like, that's, if you care about someone, don't be an asshole even as you're showing you care about them. I'm like, yeah, I get that you just see her as a city slicker who just wants to experience nature and, oh, it'll be so easy outside the city. But then once that notion is gone, he didn't need to continue being an asshole. Just saying. Another small detail I really appreciated about the film is when Hana and her kids moved out to the countryside, just seeing those pockets of mosquitoes. That's something that I never see get depicted in animation. It's such a staple of summer in real life to me that it stands out to me when I see it actually depicted. Because oftentimes in animation, when summer is depicted, you hear the cicadas, and then you see just a bright swath of green and, like, sometimes bugs, but not mosquitoes. Whereas to me, like, experiencing summer, like IRL, it's always mosquitoes. There's always mosquitoes of some kind. Like, bugs are not just the sound of summer, but seeing them too. I guess onto the actual, point of the movie. I guess if you could say it has a point, because to me, it seems like Wolf Children is a bit of a, at once a symbolic representation of single motherhood, but also then it's sort of a snippet in time. It's sort of a cross-section into the world of motherhood. Basically, trying to figure out how to be a mom on your own. Only, of course, taken to the most extreme it can, because she literally can't go to other people for help in the conventional way, because who knows what they'll do once they find out that her kids are half wolf. So she's got the added issues of she can't go to the hospital, she can't go to the vet, she can't get them registered as a citizen in the conventional sense. Basically, she's entirely on her own. She can't even go to the government for anything. In fact, getting the government involved in any way, like vaccinations, that's not, that is a bad. There's also just the fact that she can't really work a job with 2 tiny children. I mean, non-wolf children are a hassle, especially with 2 of them, in the toddler-infant ages. And obviously, if she can't work a job, then she can't hire a nanny or something. Something that I really connected with, and that I think very much summarizes motherhood or parenthood in general, is Hana constantly saying that she feels like she's making it up as she goes along. Has to figure it out on the fly. There's no rules or ways of doing things that she knows for sure is right. She just has to discover it. She has no guide, no notion of what is wrong or the wrong way to raise wolf children, especially because she's never done before and she's never even been a mom before, much less to wolf children. And that's true of even human parents. There's all these things telling you what to and not to do with parenthood, but something that most parents will find is that there's no really one right way to do it. Every child and every situation is different, and one thing will work for one kid, but won't for the other. And for how many rules for parenting there are, sometimes there's not a rule for certain situations. There's a world of advice out there, but it's hard to tell what is right for you. Basically, parenting is a lot of trial and error, even if you have, the internet at your fingertips. And with all parents, mistakes are going to be made. You're not always going to do the right thing. But I guess, as Hana finds out, what counts is her just being there for her kids and making sure they come out okay. And then also the pain of doing everything in the hopes of giving her kids the best life possible so then they can go off and have their own journeys, but then also not being ready for that, feeling like there needed to be more. There wasn't enough time to really set her kids up for success. How could they be ready to move on now? I haven't taught them enough. I haven't given you all of the tools. Surely there's more for me to do for you. You can't leave yet. And even though Hana was in a very, special circumstance because she was raising wolf kids, for most parents, human parents, 10 or 18 or 30, it doesn't matter because, the parent's always gonna feel like, this is my baby. They still see him as, the little kid that needed their parent 24/7 or else they would literally die. It's hard to let go that they don't need you quite that way anymore. Dedicating your entire life to someone, that's just normal to you after so long. You'd kind of forget how to just be your own person again. How to understand that your life isn't necessarily to care for someone else. It's just exacerbated for Hana's case because she only had 10 years with Ame before he was ready to go off and be the wolf he was. And I think it was interesting to see that dichotomy, that separation between Ame and Yuki. Basically, Yuki started out really embracing her wolf side, but then coming to find that she, in the end, wanted to be more human. Yeah, she still accepted that she was a wolf like as well, like deep down within her, but just chose to express her human side a lot more because that's what she wanted in the end. She wanted to go to school, she wanted to have friends, she wanted to be a part of human society, and she recognized she just couldn't do that by fully embracing her wolfness. Whereas Ame, the one who started out so meek, so scared to do anything, he was the one who ended up embracing his wolf side. He was fine being mostly person up until he had that revelation where being a wolf wasn't inherently bad and that he can actually be good at it. He could actually enjoy it. It could give him confidence that he was lacking as a human. And then once he crossed that threshold, then he realized, well, human life just wasn't for him. He didn't want to participate in human society, go to school, do all the normal things that humans do that Yuki was having fun with. He just felt like an outsider. And in order to feel like he belonged, he kept going back to nature, whether it be at the conservatory or with his sensei up in the mountains. I have to wonder if this dichotomy is why in the English dub, Yuki's voice is a lot younger than Ame's. Like, Ame sounds like he should be like in late middle school, high school, like he's going through puberty, whereas Yuki sounds like she's in late elementary school. I don't know if this is just a thing with the English dub and maybe, Funimation doesn't know how to cast their English dubbers. Or maybe it's an on-purpose type thing, because Yuki is embracing her human side, and so I guess her body is reflecting that, whereas with Ame, he's embracing his wolf side, and wolves are basically fully matured adults at 10 years old. I don't know, it's a weird thing, I guess. I also noticed that Yuki's hair darkens a lot as she gets older. Like, she started out as a kinda reddish brown hair child, and then like as she got to late middle school, it very much turned like a generic brown, like a dark brown, almost black. I don't know why that is. Maybe again it's because she was embracing her more human side, so she was conforming to human culture, whereas Ame kept his like bluish black hair because he was embracing his wolf side. I don't know. I think it was kind of anticlimactic, like the ending. Like on the one hand, you did have this major climax with Ame wanting to go off and live in the mountains, whereas Hana wanted to keep her baby by her side, and like she didn't feel like she was ready to let him go, more so than that he was ready to be let go of. But then the whole thing with Yuki and Sohei, like, on the one hand, it's like, yeah, I'm glad that moment happened, but it felt flat in comparison to this high-intensity, emotional moment that we were having with Hana and Ame. Like, there could have been more between Yuki and Ame exploring the different paths that they chose in life and how they each felt about it. I mean, they literally spent all their lives together, and suddenly Ame's just gone, and he can't really be with Yuki anymore because now she lives in the junior high dorms. That would have been something interesting to explore. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, it is more Hana's story than Yuki and Ame's, but then again, like, they did put focus enough on Yuki to have a whole side plot with her and Sohei, and Yuki trying to find a middle ground between she has to be human all the time and, well, she still has this wolf side of her. Which leads me to wonder, like, is Ame gonna go through something similar? Like, he's decided to fully embrace his wolf side, but will he ever desire to be human in some way? Like, will he begin to feel like he's not fulfilled by just living his life as the guardian of the mountain? So yeah, overall, I guess I'd say it's a good movie. It's more of an emotional experience. It's not like A Silent Voice where everything is just so horribly complicated to the point where it's hard to understand how to feel about certain things. In this one, it's more straightforward, like, this is the trials and tribulations of being a single mom. And being a single mom while her kids are having, like, issues and problems that you can't really, like, you can't solve. Like, you're just as lost as they are. I guess while A Silent Voice is like asking questions, Wolf Children, it's more like asking you to just think about and to experience what Hana is going through. Again, it's a slice of what it's like to be a single mom. And that's okay. Not everything has to be as crazily complicated as A Silent Voice. I mean, yeah, I was literally crying at this movie as well. I guess it's a different kind of tears in between the two. I'm not sure how to describe it. I would definitely recommend it as an emotional experience. If you're someone who's into just like being taken along on an emotional journey, then Wolf Children is definitely a good one for that. Maybe check out the sub though if you can, because I'm not sure how I feel about the dub. But that's more wrapped up in my own feelings of sub versus dub with anime. So yeah, thank you very much to Jacob Bielo for making me watch this movie, and I'll see you next time.